Hello students. Today we'll go with the other type of problem in the same stepped bar. Okay. I'll also cover some more points which I have not covered in the first step, first problem while I was solving it. Okay. Um the first problem was told so that you can understand the method of solving it. Okay. And after you know the method of solving it, this FEM is used to analyze. Okay. We'll see this problem. Okay. See this problem. The given problem here is a stepped bar. Okay. What are the things you need to determine? You need to determine the nodal displacement, stress, strain in each element, and reactions. Okay. um, if we see this problem, the problem is very similar to the first problem. Only thing is the point of application of load is different, and supports are different. Okay. uh, okay. Let us start this problem. First analyze it. Okay. So that whatever results we get at the end, are they mapping with our analysis or not? Are they mapping with our analysis or not? See this is the first element, this is the first element, and this is the second element. Okay. um, uh, the point of application of load is at the middle. Okay. Point of application of the load is at the middle. By seeing this, what can you understand? We can understand that the load P acts like a tensile force to the first element, whereas it acts like a compressive load to the second element. Okay. Means what? At the end, the stresses generated in the first element will be tensile, and the stresses generated in the second element will be compressive. How can you understand whether the stresses which we get it is tensile or compressive? If the stress value what we get at the end is positive, then it is tensile. Okay. If the stress value what we get at the end is negative, then it is compressive. Okay. This is the usual notations what we have taken. Okay. And also see that the force is acting at the center. Okay. In the previous case, the force was acting at this extreme end. Okay. So the force was put at node 3, that is F3 was that one. The only change here is, instead of the load is applied at the extreme end, now the force is applied at middle, that is nothing but node 2. Okay. Means the force will be now put at F2 value. That's it. That's the only change. Okay. And also supports. Okay. If you see the support in the first problem, the support was only in the left side, that was u1 was only 0. In this problem, both the ends are fixed, right side and as well as left side. This means what? Both our u1 as well as u3 are 0. Okay. Considering these points in your mind, we'll start the solution. See this a1 e1, a2 e2, load p, all these are given data. Okay. So based on this given data, we just need to substitute the values in the given problem formulas and go on solving it. So first step is what? Is discretization. In discretization, what we have done? In discretization we have done, that is, nodes are placed and elements are formed. Our first node, second node and third node. Okay. And node numbers are written below it, that is 1 2 3, and element number 1 and 2 are written above it. After this, what's the second step? Write the connectivity table, element connectivity table. Element 1 is connected between 1 and 2. Element 2 is connected between 2 and 3. Okay. So those are our values. Element 1 is connected between 1 and 2. Element 2 is connected between 2 and 3. Okay. So after this, what is the third step? Write the element stiffness matrix using the equation Ke is equal to AE by LE 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Okay. So substitute the values of area, Young's modulus and length from the given data, For first element, for the first element, a1 is 2400 mm square, e1 is 70 into 10 raised to 3, and l1 is 300. So substituting those values, okay, you will solve it. If you will get it 5.6 into 10 raised to 5. Again here 10 raised to 5 we are keeping it outside, so that our the value is common for almost all the elements. Okay, 10 raised to 5. Next, this element k1 is connected between node 1 and 2. That is the reason why we have written the displacement associated with u1 u2 u1 u2 along the row, along the column. Okay. Similarly, we will solve for k2, a2 e2 by l2. If we simplify those values, a2 is 600, e2 is 200 into 10 raised to 3, l2 is 400. Okay, and if we simplify it, it is 3 into 10 raised to 5. This element is associated with node 2 and 3, so displacement associated with are u2 and u3. Okay, after writing k1 and k2, only there are two elements, so there will be two element stiffness matrix k1 k2. If there are three, then we have to write k3 also, and so on. Now after this we will write a step 4, that is global matrix. First one is global stiffness matrix. How to write this global stiffness matrix? You have to write the global displacements u1 u2 u3 along the row and along the column. Okay, and then it is a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, so for u1 row u1 column, what is its value? Fetch it from element stiffness matrix 1 and 2. u1 row and u1 column is available only at first element, not in second element, so it is 5.6. u1 row u2 column is minus 5.6, that also is got from element stiffness matrix 1, u1 row u1 column. Okay, u1 row u2 column, and similarly go on fetching for all the row and column values, u1 row u3 column and so on. We'll end up with this global stiffness matrix. kg is 10 raised to 5 into 5.6 minus 5.60 minus 5.6 8.6 minus 3 0 minus 3 3. Okay, after this we need to write the global force vector. If we see again, I'll just recall it. Okay, in this problem the force is applied at node 2. This force is to be put at node 2 value, then means F2 is equal to this P is how much? 200 Newton. Okay, now how about this node 1 and node 3? Node 1 there is no force applied, but there are reactions generated at both the things, both the nodes R1 at node 1 and node 3. So our global force vector F1 is R1, that is the reaction force generated at that point, and F3 also there is a reaction force, that is R3. What is F2? F2 is the load applied, 200 kilonewton. Okay, now write the equilibrium equation. K into Q is equal to F from your global matrix. Okay, and next step is step 6 is apply boundary condition. I had repeated it. What are the boundary conditions in this problem? The boundary conditions in this problem are your node 1 and node 3 are fixed, that is u1 is equal to 0 and u3 is equal to 0. Okay, u1 and u3 are both 0. Because we know u1 and u3, those corresponding rows are being removed. Because those two values u1 is also 0 and u3 is also 0, the corresponding columns are also being deleted. So if you remove those corresponding rows and column values, you will end up with this matrix. 10 raised to 5 is the common factor, 8.6 u2 is equal to 2. From this you just calculate what is the value of u2. Okay, after calculating this value of u2 comes out to be 0.2325. Okay, so what are your nodal displacements? u1 is 0, u2 is 0.2325 mm, and u3 is 0. After writing this, calculate the strain and stress. Strain is B into Q, that is 1 by L minus 1 1, and u1 u2 are the displacement associated with element 1. So it will be strain in first element is 1 divided by LE, length of that element is 300, minus 1 1, and your U1 is 0 and U3 is 0.2325. Okay, if you just simplify this, simplify means what? You just need to multiply this row to this column. Here minus 1 into 0 becomes 0, plus 1 into this part becomes 0.2325. Okay, so simplify it, divide by 300. Okay, solve it, calculate the stress. Stress is equal to what? E into strain. Now we have got the stress as 54.25 MPa. This 54.25 is positive, that is tensile. Okay, calculate the strain in the second element. Again same, B into Q. Displacement associated with the element 2 is U2 and U3. U2 is 0.2325 and U3 is 0. Okay, similarly just simplify it. You will get strain in this element, and you just multiply this row in this column. You will get, simplify it, you will get it minus 5.81 minus 4. And then the stresses, if you calculate, stress is equal to E into strain. If you multiply, E is 2 into 10 to 5 and strain is minus this one, you will get a stress as minus 116.25. This minus 116.25 is nothing but your compressive. Okay, now calculate the reactions. To calculate reactions, we will use from the step 5. Step 5, this equations is from this matrix. We need to calculate what is this R1 and R3. To calculate R1, what we will do, we will multiply this first row to this U1, U2, U3, you will get R1. For this R3, if you just multiply this row, last row, to this U1, U2, U3, you will get R3. Okay, okay, that is what we have done it. I have just multiplied this first row, that gives me R1. The 10⁵ is common, you have to use it. Okay, so we will end up with R1 as minus 130.2 kilonewton. Okay, and R3, if you similarly simplify it, that is multiply the third row to U1, U2, U3, you will get R3. You will get minus 69.75. Okay, to just cross verify our analysis or results, we had assumed when we had analyzed this step bar, we had analyzed that aluminum is under tensile and steel is under compressive. The results what we got is mapping with the predictions. Now to check whether our results are almost correct or not, what we have determined at R3 and R1 and R3, somewhere we have determined what is its value. R1 is minus 130 plus somewhere around minus 69. Okay, minus 69. If you just add on minus 130 minus 169, nothing but minus almost 70, it is nearly equal to 200 kilonewton, but not exactly 200 near to 200 kilonewton. So load applied is also 200 kilonewton, reactions also are 200 kilonewton, so our results are matching to it. Okay, so this is our problem number 2. Okay, now there is problem number 3. For this problem, I will be just explaining how you have to solve it. Okay, solutions I am not showing it, or I am not giving it to you all. I want you all to do these solutions and submit it in the survey sheet, which I will be sending it through WhatsApp. So this is the problem. I had shown you the examples of 2-step bar. Now you have to do the step bar for 3 steps. Okay, step bar analysis. Okay, what are the things given, or what are the things you have to calculate? The things you have to calculate is the nodal displacements, strain, stress and reactions. Okay, so nodal displacements, where are they? it is nodal displacement 1 2 3 4. So 4 displacements are there, nodal displacement, out of which this node 1 is fixed, so u1 will be 0. You need to calculate u2, u3 and u4. Okay, that those are the nodal displacement. Then you need to calculate strain and stress in the elements. This is the first element, this is second element, third element. You need to calculate strain and stress in this element, strain and stress in this element, and strain and stress in this element. Okay, and lastly you need to calculate what is the reaction generated at node 1. I will give you the steps also, almost all the steps. Step 1 is what? Again, discretization. I have discretized into 3 number of elements. Element node 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is associated between the nodes 1 and 2, 2 is associated between 2 and 3, 3 is associated between 3 and 4. So our element connectivity table in the next step, element 1 is connected between 1 and 2, element 2 is connected between 2 and 3, element 3 is connected between 3 and 4. Okay, these steps are basic. Now after that you need to calculate what are the element stiffness matrix. Element stiffness matrix are to be calculated using these formulas. Ke is equal to Ae by Le, 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. For first element it is between displacement u1 and u2, u1 and u2 have to be written. Okay, K2 is A2 E2 by L2, displacement associated with are u2 u3 u2 u3. Okay, and the element stiffness matrix for K3 is A3 E3 by L3, and displacement associated with it are u3 u4 u3 u4. Okay, now after that you need to substitute all those values, just simply substitute those values and calculate those global stiffness matrix. Calculating global stiffness matrix, you need to write all the global displacements u1 u2 u3 u4, u1 u2 u3 u4. In this problem we will be having 4 by 4 matrix. Okay, because 4 displacements are, the size of the global stiffness matrix will be 4 by 4. Go on mapping from u1 row u1 column, u1 row u2 column, u1 row u3 column. Okay, if you follow my discretization process, u1 row u3 and u1 row u4, they come out to be 0. Okay, go on, simply just map those values from all those element stiffness matrix. After that write the global force vector. Global force vector, there is no force applied at node 1. Okay, so F1 becomes 0, but there is a reaction. So what is that reaction? R1. You need to know what is the force applied at node 2, node 3 and node 4. Just see it. At node 2 it is 200 kilonewton, at node 3 is at node 2 it is 20 kilonewton, 10 kilonewton and 10 kilonewton. So what will be our global force vector? So it is F1 is nothing but R1, so F2 is nothing but 20 kilonewton, and F3 is 10 kilonewton, and F4 is 10 kilonewton. Okay, and after that you just need to write this K, and Q will be what? U1 u2 u3 u4 is equal to F. Okay, and apply boundary condition, and this boundary condition is what? U1 is 0, that is node displacement of node 1 is 0. So after that what you will do? You will eliminate this first row and first column should be removed off. Okay, and then solve for u2 u3 u4. Here 3 by 3 is the matrix what you get it. Okay, first solve the second row, or solve the first row, u2 will get, second row you will get u3, third row you will get u4. This method also you can do, or else you can use just elimination method, that is write it in a augmented form, and then use row operations, convert it into upper triangular matrix and then do back substitution. You will get the values of u2 u3 and u4. After substituting all these values, you now next need to do the calculation of strain and stress. Strain is nothing but B into Q. For those elements you go on writing those nodal displacements, and stress is E into strain. And reaction, to calculate reaction, what you have to do is, in K into Q, the step 5, you will have this R1 available. Multiply the first row to U1, U2, U3, U4, you will get R1. Okay. uh, uh, I'll also circulate the form in the um, WhatsApp group, and I'll also submit the deadline by which the problem has to be solved. Okay. Thank you.